Hi everyone and welcome to another video on Acing Accounting. Today we will be looking at your accounting paper 2, so November 2020, and this is the second paper. I guess it was the backup paper that was written in 2020. So we will be looking at your question 2, which is cost accounting, or what you call manufacturing. And now just getting into the question. Question 2, it says cost accounting. It's 50 marks for 40 minutes. Alright. So perfect manufacturers, the business produces formal shirts. The final year in the 28th February 2021. So this is our year end. So you know that it starts on the 1st of March. So this was precisely 2020. And then 2.1.1 says prepare the production cost statement. Okay, so you're given information. You had stock on hand. Now your work in progress on the 1st of March 2020, it was 230,000 when you opened, and then when you closed you were not given anything. That's why there's a question mark there. It's probably a balancing figure. And then your finished goods on the 1st of March, you had 900 shirts at 380 at a total of 342,000. And then finished goods on the 28th of Feb 2021 was 400 shirts valued using the FIFO or FIFO method. But I say FIFO. And then B, it says the bookkeeper calculated the costs below. Some errors were made, and then that simply means that we have to adjust all these amounts, if not all, but most of these amounts, right? And then the first one on information sheet, it says payment to quick delivery 75,000 for carriage on raw materials was incorrectly allocated to selling and distribution cost. So the 75,000 was incorrectly allocated to distribution and cost, selling and distribution cost, and was not supposed to be there. So we're supposed to subtract 75,000 and then we edit back to your direct material because it was the carriage of raw materials. And then the second one says the entire insurance amount of 25,200 was transferred to the administration cost. So 2/3 of this expense should be allocated to the factory. So it's 2 out of 3 times 25,000 must be allocated to the factory. And let's see how much that is. So it's 2/3 of 25,200. That's road to 25,000. Yeah, it's 25,200, which is equal to 16,000. So to our factory overheads, we're going to add 16,800, and then we subtract 16,800 from your administration cost. Okay. And then the third one says the factory overhead cost included an amount of 117,600 for water and electricity. The bookkeeper had incorrectly allocated this expense to factory administration and selling and distribution in the ratio 6:3:1, and the correct ratio is 5:4:1. So this one is pretty simple, but it can also be confusing because it has lots of numbers, and it also has lots of information. So what you could do here is just simply look at these numbers, because this one remains the same. So what changed here is your 5 and 6, 4 and 3, but we're looking at your factory overhead cost account. So the factory overhead cost account included the amount of 518,800, which is that's the total amount, but it included the amount of 117,600, and the allocation was 6 is to 3 is to 1, but now it changed to 5 is to 4 is to 1. So we're gonna use what we want over what we know. It was 6, but now it has changed to 5. Multiply by the given amount. And let's see what we get. 5 over 6 times 117,600. So it was supposed to be 98,000. Alright. So from the 98,000, you are going to check how much is supposed to be subtracted from your factory overhead. Okay, so you take your 117,600 minus 98,000. Let's see what we get there. It's 117,600 minus 98,000, which is 19,600. So your factory overheads were overstated by 19,600 because the ratio was incorrect. So we're going to subtract 19,600 there. Okay, and then D, you're given your prime cost, which is 2,550,000 after adjustments. So looking at your production cost statement, you really don't need any of the information about your selling and distribution and also your administration cost. The only information you'll need is with these three. Okay, so to prepare your production cost statement. So you have your direct material cost here, and then you have your direct labor, and then you continue. Here you have work in progress at start. Alright, and then now you just fill in your information. Your direct material, you have 1,575 plus 75,000. Then you check what that gives you, and then it should be okay, plus 75, and that's 1,650,000. And then now you're given your prime cost, you can just simply take this and subtract that to get your direct labor, because you're not given any information. So subtracting these two numbers will give you 900,000. All right. Now your factory overhead cost, you have already done what you need to do, and then you just take these numbers and plug them down there. So it's 518,800 to show your calculations, minus 16,800. Or it's a plus, and then minus 19,600, and that's your calculation. So let's see what that gives us. It's 518,800. Okay, fix that. Plus 16,800 minus 19,600. That gives us 516,000. And then your total manufacturing cost, you add these two numbers, which is 2,550. Okay, just add that, which is 3,066,000. Okay, and then now your work in progress at start. When you started, you had a work in progress of 230,000. 230,000, and then here it's just an amount that doesn't have any sort of heading, and then it's whereby you add these two amounts, right? So adding these, you just simply get 6 plus 3, that's 9, 6, and then 1, 2, 3, right? And then now your work in progress at the end is going to be a negative amount, because that's the work you are still doing and it's not supposed to be part of your total cost of production. That is why we are subtracting your work in progress. You are still working. It is still not part of your total cost of production, right? Because the production is not done yet. That is why you have your work in progress. And then your total cost of production, we're given information E. It says 7,600 shirts were produced at a unit cost of 420 each. So it's 7,600 times 420, and let's see what we get there. 7,600 times 420, which is 3,192,000. Then you can just simply subtract this one and get your negative amount, because you can clearly see that this one is less than this one. So that will give you a negative work in progress amount of 104,000. All right. And then we're moving on to 2.1.2. It says calculate gross profit earned on sale of shirts. Our information says 8,100 shirts were sold for 4,860,000. So our sales 4,860,000. Now you remember that your gross profit is sales minus cost of sales, right? Yeah, it's your gross profit. So it's 4,860,000 minus what we produced. We produced 3,192,000, right? But this doesn't say anything as yet. So we had stock at the beginning of the year, stock worth 342. So remember, it said FIFO method, so we're supposed to sell that stock. So that's minus 342. But remember that we also had stock at the end, right? So we had stock at the end that we hadn't sold. That is 400 shirts valued using FIFO method. So we're supposed to say, from the 400 shirts that were on hand, each costed 420. So we had not sold those yet. So they're not supposed to be part of our cost of sales calculations. So we're gonna say plus 400 times 420 times 420. Let's see what that gives us. So it's 4,860,000 minus 3,192 minus 342 plus 400 times 420, and we're getting our cost of sales to be 1,494,000. And those are cost of sales. Alright, and then we had your markup achieved on shirts. So your markup is always your gross profit over your cost of sales, which is equal to your gross profit, which is calculated to be 1,494, over your cost of sales, which is look at me scrolling. Okay, so your cost of sales should be where you calculate your 342, which you sold at first, plus your 3,192, right, multiplied by 100, and then that should give you and minus what you did not sell. Okay, so 400 times I said 4 times 4 gave me 16, and then 400 times 20, that should give you 8. So it's 16,000. Oh, it's 168. Yes, my quick math is working here. Okay, And then let's see what that gives us. So it's 1494,123, then 342 plus 3192 minus 16,800 times 100, and that gives you let's see if the numbers are correct one last time. I'm getting 42.47%, so we can just simply round that off to 43, or even 42% is fine. So we can just say 42%. All right, so that's what I'm getting. Oh no, I left a zero there in my calculator, so it's 44. Sorry about that. So it's supposed to be 44%. It's 44.38%. So you can just say it's 44%. I think that's correct, right? And then question 2.2 says leather manufacturers is owned by Taylor Andrews. They produce leather purses and leather jackets. The financial year ends on 28th or 29th of Feb each year. And then you are required to calculate the break-even point for purses for the year ended 28th February 2021. Now, without even looking at your information, you know that your break-even point is your fixed cost over your selling price minus your variable cost. That's the first thing that comes to mind when you're dealing with your break-even point. And then you go to your information now and you just fill it in. Your total fixed cost, they said for what? We are calculating for purses. Right, make sure you're looking for the right information, and for the year ended 28 February 2021. So we're looking at purses. These are the purses 2021 that's there. And then that simply means we are looking in this column. All right. So for 2021, we had total fixed cost of 936 over your selling price per unit of 295 minus your total variable cost per unit of 255, and that will give you it's 936 100 over 295 minus 225, and that's it's 23,400 units. Okay, let me try calculating one more time to ensure that my answer is correct. 295 minus 255. It's 23,400. All right, and then comment on the level of production achieved. Now it's commenting on the level of production and the break-even point for purses in 2021. So if they're talking about production and your break-even point, you're looking at the number of units produced and sold, because produced is your production and your break-even point, right? So when you're talking about those, now we got that our break-even point was 23,400. So if they sold 24,000, this simply means that they made profit on a certain amount of units, right? So when you are working now, you just quoting figures is really important because it will give you marks. Now this is the break-even point. So the break-even point that you calculated was 23,400. Number of units produced and sold is 24,000. So now you're giving out the comment. The business The business has made a profit. From 600 units. So because the break-even point where the business doesn't make any profit or loss, it was 23,400 units. But now the business was able to produce 24,000 units, and that simply means they were able to make 600 units worth of profit. All right. So that might be the first point. And then the second one, you can just look at your previous year and compare the figures. If you could look in 2020, it was 22,000, but your break-even point was 20,900, and the difference here is just 1,100. Okay, yeah, because 22,000 minus 20,900 is 1,100. So the profit decreased from 1,100 to 600 units. So you can also add that on your answer. So profit between 2020 and 2021 decreased from 1,100 to 600 units. Alright. And then 2.2.3, it says apart from inflation and wage increases, give two other possible reasons for the increase in direct labor cost per unit for purses. Okay, so purses direct labor cost increased from 105 to 135. So what may have influenced the increase? First things first, people at work might prefer to work more overtime than normal time, because when they work overtime, that's where they get paid more money. So workers work more overtime. They work more overtime. So the second one you could think of is that your workers might be wasting time when they're working actually, or the productivity is just not there, and they really can't be productive on the work that they're doing, and hence they become a cost to the business. And now another scenario could be you have hired highly skilled people. Now you need to increase their wages. So imagine when you hire somebody who has a degree and somebody who has a master's. Of course, the one who has a master's will want a higher wage. So it could also be that. Let's just take that one. So higher skilled workers. Higher skilled workers may have been employed. Okay, excuse me there for my bad handwriting. And then 2.2.4, it says give two reasons for the decrease in direct material cost per unit for purses. And then, so if your direct material cost per unit decreases, that simply means your workers have become more productive. There is less wastage, because let's say in the production process, before they used to make let's say 5,000 purses from 2 meters of leather, but now they're making 6,000 from 2 meters of leather. That simply means that your workers are highly skilled now, and there is less wastage of material. Another reason it could be the supervisor is there now, watching them on how they actually produce, if they're not wasting anything. So supervision on employees. Because if your boss is around and they're looking at you, how you do your work. You will definitely you will definitely do your best. And 2.2.5, it says explain why the direct material cost per unit for jackets would probably increase if raw material were important. This is just straightforward. If you're buying things from overseas, the first things that comes to you is duties, customs duties or tax. Some people say it's import duties, all right. And then the second one, you have to pay more for deliveries. Like when you're ordering stock online, when you're ordering a clothes or whatever you're ordering on those clothes retail websites. So what costs are you incurring? You're incurring your customs duties. You're also incurring more transport costs than you would have incurred if you bought locally. So that transport or carriage fees increase. Okay. And then it says provide figures to prove that Taylor was correct about the effect this decision would have on the cost of jackets. So we're talking about direct material. Now we're looking at jackets. Okay. So direct material in 2020 it was 180, but in 2021 it was 360. So this has increased by almost, not even almost, but it has increased by double. So in 2020, so direct material costs increased from 180 to 360, which is 100% increase, incremental increase, whatever you want to say. It's to say increase. And then 2.2.6, it says calculate the percentage increase in the selling price of the jacket. These are easy marks that you can just easily grab. So your first price was 780, and your second one was 1170. The original one 780 percentage, no, not 100%, which will give me that's 1170 over your 780 minus 780 there, I forgot. Okay, and then you can multiply by 100. So that gives me 50%. Alright, let's just take a calculation. There we go. Alright, so it's 50%. And 2.2.7 says explain the impact of the increase in the selling price of jackets on the sales and profit. Now, it increases since the selling price increased by 50%. Let's see what changed. Now, since the increase, at first in 2020, our break-even was 5,000, and we were able to produce 6,350. And then in 2021, our break-even point was 3,750, but we only produced 3,631, which is far less than our, not really far less, but it is less than our break-even point. That simply means the business made a loss. Okay, so we are supposed to explain the impact of the increase in the selling price. So here, selling price increased by 50% because you calculated that from 780 to 1170, and then profit decreased. And then how do you get that your profit really decreased. You move to your information here. So we moved from a profit of 6350 minus 5,000, and then let's see what that gives us. 6350 minus 5,000, which is 1,350 units profit, to a loss of, because we produced less than our break-even point, then we moved to a loss of 375 minus 3631 of 119 units. It's 1350 and 119. So profit decreased from these numbers, 1350 decreased from to a loss of 119 units. Okay, so that's where you code figures. If you want to do calculation, you can do calculations, and you can also just state that the business was unable to produce enough units to get to the break-even point. So what's really important in these kind of answers is you quoting figures and stating the obvious. Actually, just what is the difference between the numbers. If you want to do calculations, but ensure that you are fast as lightning. Alright, and then 2.2.8 says Taylor wants to increase profits on jackets by an additional 250 units in the next financial year. Assuming the cost structure remains the same, calculate the total number of additional units he must produce to achieve this target. So, since we already know that he has a break-even point of 3,750 this year, so let's check how much he has to produce to get 250,000 profit. So it's 250. I'm adding this with the fixed costs, right, to get, because when you're calculating the break-even points, that's where your profit is 0. But now we want our profit to be 250,000. Okay, so we're gonna add that profit to your fixed costs, and then your fixed costs was 1,706,250, which is 1,706,250 over your selling price, and variable cost remain the same also because they told us. So it's 1170 and 700. So that's 1170 minus 700. Okay, so let's see, it's 250 minus 176,706, 250. Oh, it's a plus. Where am I getting this minus? Divided by 1170 minus 700. That gives us 412. Okay, I'll just say 4123. Are my numbers correct? Okay, please just give me a chance to recalculate. Yeah, I don't think this is correct because I've typed the wrong numbers in my calculator here. Plus 1,706,250. That's 1170 minus 700. Oh, cool. So it's 416 2,23. So we can just say it's 4163 units. But we are not done. They're saying an additional, see, a number of additional units. That's where I'm supposed to look. It's number of additional units, not just number of units, but additional units. So at first he was supposed to produce 3750 to make no profit. So how many more should he produce from 3750 to 4163 in order to make the profit of 250,000? So it's 4163 minus 3750 units. Okay, so it's 4163 minus 3750, which is 413 units. And that's it on your cost accounting or manufacturing for today. Thank you so much for joining us. This has been really exciting, working on cost accounting, your manufacturing. I just hope you will subscribe, like, and share with anyone who needs help with accounting. Share with your friends, schoolmates, and family members. It has been so nice being with you today. Thank you so much for watching. See you on the next